Welcome to Offline Lessons to Build Your Online Brand. In this video series, I want to show you some examples from the offline world that you can adapt and use to build your online brand. Branding offline has been going on pretty much since time immemorial, and branding offline has become quite a big business. There are brand agencies, brand managers, and offline companies build and guard their brands in a very big way. And you can take these lessons and these examples and use it in your own business to help build your own brand and to make your own brand successful online, because the principles are pretty much the same. And of course, the question that lots of people want to know is, well, why were brands invented in the first place? I suppose there are lots of different reasons, but one was to be able to tell one manufacturer's product from another. And by the year 1266, bakers in England were required to put a unique mark on their bread, so if there was a problem with it, it could be traced back. And so that's probably the first reason of having a brand. It's a type of quality control. Another reason that brands were established was to prove ownership. And this could be ownership of an object, or it could be ownership of a product, an idea, or a concept. And we can see some branding literally being done here in this picture that was taken in Western Canada in 1912. And this, I suppose, is where the name branding comes from, because ranchers would literally put their brand on cattle to be able to tell it apart from the other ranchers' cattle out on the open range. Now, many Japanese companies are over 200 years old, and their mon or seal can be considered an early form of brand or trademark, and we can see a couple of examples here. And in the West, Chateau de Goulaine has been producing wines under its own brand since around the year 1000 AD, and it's considered to be the third oldest commercial enterprise in the world. And again, that goes back to quality control. You know where the wine comes from because the winery have got their brand, their logo on the bottle. And of course, this leads into the next reason why brands were invented, and that was to make a product instantly recognizable. And you could do that through the package design. Think about the iconic Coca-Cola bottle, for example, and it can be done through a logo as well. And a logo is, of course, a very, very important part of your brand. And in societies where people couldn't read or write, or where goods were exported to another country where they spoke another language, then having a recognizable logo was particularly important. And here's a good example. This is one of my favorite logos, and it's the logo for the Bass Brewery. And it is the oldest registered trademark in the UK and one of the oldest in the world. And originally, it was just the red triangle. They added the word bass underneath later on. But it's so simple and it's easily recognizable that it really is one of the best logos that there are around. I talk a bit more about logos in a later video. But it's so instantly recognizable, I just want to show you something here. Now, this is a famous French Impressionist painting. It's a bar at the Folies Bergère by Edouard Manet. But do you notice something? Right there on the bar, there are two bottles of Bass beer. And even though this picture was painted over 130 years ago, you can still instantly recognize that brand. You can still instantly recognize that particular beer that's on the bar there is Bass beer. And so that advertising is still doing its job 130 years later. Okay, in the next video I'll talk through what your brand says about your business, because getting it right is very important.